Question number 41 gives us an equation, and what it asks us to do is to solve the equation by factoring. One of the things that I want you to be prepared for in future courses is you may not get directions that are quite this thorough. In a future course you may just see an equation like this and it would say solve, but it wouldn't really give you a hint as to how to solve it. I want us to look at the equation together, and I want to give you some hints as you see the equation with me. So come with me to my paper. Our equation is 3x squared minus 15x equals 0. Now, one thing I want to make sure that you're getting correct in algebra talk, this is not an expression, this is an equation. You have a left-hand side, you have a right-hand side, you have an equal sign, and the directions ask you to solve it, which means give me the answers. What would work for x? Something I want you to notice about this equation is an equation of degree 2. An equation of degree 2 is also sometimes called a quadratic equation. But one of the things I want you to remember from Math 1033, when you have an equation whose degree is higher than 1, let's say a degree 2, degree 3, degree 4, so on, one of the best ways to try to solve that equation is by factoring, eventually by using the technique of factoring. Sometimes this process is referred to as the zero factor property. I'll write it as ZF. So when you see you have an equation of higher degree, meaning degree 2 or more, one of the first things to do is to put the equation, or to set the equation equal to 0, which has already been done. But more so than that, make sure that the side of the equation that has your algebra part to it per se, is in descending power order. This is called standard form. Once you have a higher order equation in standard form, what we're going to try to do, it doesn't always work, but sometimes the technique of factoring is a very good way to help out solving these equations, if this expression factors. So, the equals and the 0 part just kind of come down for the ride, but it's important to show that. If I take the expression 3x squared minus 15x, I notice that the greatest common factor of that expression is a 3x. So what I'm going to do is to do the factor part of the zero factor property. I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor, which is 3x, and in parens, when I complete my factoring, it leaves me with x minus 5. So I have factored the left-hand side of the equation. I've written it as a product. Now remember, if two factors are multiplied together to give you 0, think about how that could happen. If two factors multiplied, that's why they're factors, because they're multiplied, give you the answer 0, the only way that could possibly happen is if one or both of those factors are 0. So we set up our two cases. Either 3x is equal to 0, or x minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, check what I've written. Either the first factor is 0 or the second factor is 0. Or means one or the other, or possibly both. So it's not excluding anything. It could be both. Or just means one or the other, or also could mean or possibly both. If I'm trying to solve this first case, I divide both sides by 3 of the equation. I get x equals, and let's not stop here. 0 divided by 3 isn't pretty. Let's finish it. 0 divided by 3 is equal to 0. On the second case, if x minus 5 is 0, then obviously x is equal to positive 5. So we have two solutions to this equation, and a lot of times your future instructors will like to see you write these solutions in, sort of roster method, meaning write them as a solution set. So we put our set brackets, and we have the solution set here being the ordered, or rather the set with the numbers 0 and 5. One of the comments I did want to make, in a set like this, order really doesn't matter, so you could put 5 first and then 0. In a set, order is not important. One of the other comments I want to make as I'm finishing this problem with you, notice that the original equation had degree 2, and notice that we have 2 solutions. In general, not always, when an equation has degree 2, you're probably going to get 2 answers. When an equation has degree 3, you're probably going to get 3 answers. Now remember, there are exceptions to every rule, but that's a good general rule of thumb.